We are joined by our friend Dana Maldonado down in Texas. What's going on, Dana? How are you?
I'm doing well, Jessica. Thanks for having me. Hi, Jenny. How are you?
Hi, Dana. So great to have you here tonight.
Yeah, and so thank you for helping us continue the conversation of this shitstorm that we are all in as parents with pandemic motherhood, living through this COVID situation. And, a few things that we discuss on the show is, work, what we're doing with our kids, right? And they kind of, they're just so attached. So I think tonight we're going to talk a little bit about both, but really we want to get inside of your head as far as how you finally made the decision to homeschool, not even virtual learning, right? So right now we have some kids that are actually going into the classroom. We have some kids that are doing virtual learning where they're sitting in front of laptops and they're going to class virtually. And then we have the homeschoolers. So last week we had Emerald on, who's been a long time homeschooler and business owner. So she was giving us some advice for moms like Dana who wanted to take the leap, start homeschooling because of this COVID mess. And Dana has actually been brave enough to go ahead and make that decision and say, hey, you know what? This is going to be the best decision for our family. And she just did it. So Dana, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about how you got to making that decision. But before we get to that, tell us a little bit about what was going on like pre-COVID. What was like daily life like for you, husband, and kids?
Okay, so I was a recruiter for a call center. So I basically hired people to be in sales, and that's what they did all day long. My days were full, 14 interviews a day. It was crazy. And then we were overtaken, and I was made, as they say, redundant. So my entire department was disbanded. This was the beginning of February 2nd. February 4th, I got a phone call from my mom, who lives in New Zealand, and said that my dad was having a quadruple bypass. So I jumped on the plane with my daughter. So my son stayed with my husband. My daughter's 5, or going to be 5. She's 4 now. She'll be 5 in November. The second kid, you don't know their age anymore. But my eldest was 6. He stayed with my husband. And I jumped on a plane with her. We went to New Zealand to take care of my mom, basically emotionally, while my dad had the bypass. And by the time we got back, COVID was full-fledged abroad. Now, the U.S., it was February 15th. No one had heard of it. But we'd heard of it a lot in New Zealand. My children go to a Chinese daycare. So they're in, well, my child, my youngest. So she, like the Chinese daycares in Dallas area, so they're Chinese immersion, half day English, half day Chinese. They were like, you internationally traveled. We don't want you back. So I was like, crap. And I'm stuck with this girl. So I couldn't look for a job. I had to be with my daughter all day long. I'd been with her for 3 weeks already. I wanted to blow out my brains. And then COVID happened basically by March 15th. And no one was in school anymore. My son never went back after spring break. He was in a private school. Okay, so I'm not working and I'm not looking for a job because I don't know what's going on. Right. My husband still has a job. He's a professor at a university. So we decided to pull my son out of private school. I wasn't working anymore. Private school, I don't know where y'all are, but they're super expensive here. It's like $25K for kindergarten. It's stupid. So we decided to just pull him out because we didn't know what was going on financially. And I was like, well, they went back after spring break and did distance learning. And I think a lot of us experience this weird distance learning after March, right?
Yeah.
And then one time I got an email from the drama teacher who was like, could you please send a video of him acting like an eagle? Because I'm like, no. Doesn't sound right. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to homeschool him and see how it goes for the end of the semester.
Wait, that was the straw that broke the camel's back?
Yeah, the eagle video.
No, I will not send the video for the
No, and I got it. The private schools, they want their tuition money. So they were trying to be like super involved, all the parents are like, God, we're still paying for this. And what are we doing? So private schools are a little bit different than public. And my youngest is still in daycare, obviously. So I hadn't dealt with the public school system yet. So I pulled him out of private and applied to public schools. I don't know if you guys have a red shirting thing in New Jersey. It's a big thing in Dallas. Basically, you keep your kid out of school as long as possible so they are bigger and stronger for football. Okay. So you don't want to, like, summer birthday kids, you don't want them in school. Like, you want to push it as late as possible because then they'll be bigger, better, faster, stronger. Am I doing like a Kanye West song? I don't know. You know what I mean? So like everyone in Sebastian's class was really old, like 6 or 7 months. Like they'd all lost their teeth and stuff. Like he'd lost one. He couldn't take the Tupperware off of his lunch thing. He couldn't do the monkey bars. So we did this year called a bridge year. Okay, this is what private schools do to get one more year of tuition out of you. It's a bridge. Okay, it's called primer, transitional year, where they take all the summer birthdays in kindergarten and shove them into one class. So everyone all of a sudden is within three months of each other, girls and boys. It's beautiful. Like, it's actually sweet. So no one's older. Like, my son was still trying to play like pretend, and the other kids want to play like football and soccer. Like, he just wasn't there yet. So he was in this like weird bridge year, and he was supposed to be going into first grade the following year if he had stayed at this private school. But then when all of a sudden, when I wanted to put him into public school, they're like, oh, no, he's second grade. I'm like, crap, he can't read yet. Like, he can't do anything yet. You know, he's still playing. So I was like, okay, I gotta get him ready for public school. So that was why I decided to homeschool. All of a sudden, I had to squeeze in a full year into the summer. So we didn't do summer break. We just plowed through everything that we could.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So that was it. So that's what I did, and that's why I chose to homeschool him. Now my daughter, I'm sending her to another Chinese daycare. They're very like they're really anal retentive just because of culturally, like their situation. So Texas, you know, is weird about masks and things. But they're like masks, temperature checks, hand sanitizing. Everyone has their own desk. She's only 7 kids to 2 teachers.
Wow.
Yeah. So my son and I, though, are home alone every day homeschooling, and we've just decided to continue it because it's actually been really fun.
So, okay, so you started this in preparation because he was kind of in no man's land.
Right.
Yeah, and you got a crash course in all of the specifications and expectations for private school and for public school and for homeschooling. Like, usually we just have to adjust to one of them, but you had to make sure that you had your stuff down for all 3 of them, which is really difficult to calibrate.
It was, yes. So luckily, though, Sebastian is one of these like nerdy, introverted kids. Like he's after a birthday party, like he needs to crawl into bed and lie in a fetal position. He had a great time, but he just needs to recharge batteries. You know, so
Yeah. Social settings like draining.
Very. Yeah. So
I think that's me. Yeah.
Yeah, you like just same with my husband. Like he'll go to a play date and then he will get into bed for an hour and a half. Yeah, and I'm not that way. I'm like, give me more for the next party. And he's not. So he actually has enjoyed the solitude of homeschooling. So that was another benefit to me continuing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, because offline, when we were chatting on Facebook, you had made a comment that you also didn't want to have to be tied to the school system's schedule. Are they virtually learning right now?
Right. Okay. Very good point. So they're not virtually learning at another school system. I guess they're online learning because a lot of the programs that I've purchased or subscribed to are online. Like,
no, but I mean the public schools. Are the kids in the classrooms?
Oh, in Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas. Okay, so I'm in Richardson, which is on the border of Dallas. So there's a lot of suburbs here. Dallas ISD does not going back to classes until October 5th. So they are virtually learning until then.
Okay.
At least that is, maybe they just moved it to October 15th. So everyone right now is virtual. And yeah, I was like, crap, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to like scream for them to get up at 8 o'clock and then he's in first grade or second, whatever it would have been.
We don't even know.
I don't know. So he's in first grade or second. And I was like, man, he's going to have to, and what if I want to go to the grocery store at like 1 p.m.?
Right.
I have to sit there and babysit him. He's not old enough for me to leave him alone, you know?
Right.
No, I mean, this situation sucks. It sucks for every mom, every working mom particularly.
Yeah.
But I do kind of, yeah, sure, absolutely. But I do love how you've kind of like utilized it as an opportunity to really invest in who your children are as people and how that's going to work for them and how to support them best. I mean, often I think we just kind of follow, like, I went to public school, so my kids are going to go to public school. Or if you were homeschooled, maybe you would lean more toward the homeschooling, private schools, and then another different animal. Right. We usually tend to stay in our lane. Right. That we know, and we don't realize that we have the permission to stop ourselves and evaluate and be like, no, like this is who my kid is. This is how he or she responds in social settings. This is how she or he responds after assessments. This is how well they do with people or without people, with scheduling or without scheduling.
Right.
So what were some indicators that Sebastian gave you that this is the best way for him?
Okay, very good question, Jenny. And you make a really good point. So my kid is jump and he says how high. He's the firstborn. You know, he's a people pleaser. So I'm paying $26K for this private school, which was sweet and adorable. I loved it. I've nothing bad to say about it. But like he wasn't a squeaky wheel. So I never got an email from the teacher. Conferences were like, he's good. He's fine. He's good. I'm like, well, tell me, is he special at anything? Nope. Is he bad at anything? Nope. Okay. Middle of the lane. And then, but I remember in pre-K 4, once the teacher said, yeah, you know, he's good at math. So we gave him a little bit harder of a worksheet because he wanted to do that. And that was it. That's the last I heard of any kind of, just comments about his academics. And he really enjoys math. He's no Einstein. But, you know, he gets math very quickly. He's already, you know, he's 7. He's already dealing with fractions. He can already tell you that, you know, a third of a half is a sixth. You know, like he right. I know. Like I'm like, what? So I mean, he's pretty good at that kind of stuff. But no one told me. So I figured this out while I was homeschooling him, freaking out about him being in 2nd grade. I was like, oh. He's good at math. He's not good at anything else. I'm very realistic about my child's abilities. He's like crap at writing. His reading's okay, but he enjoys math. And I was like, well, you know what? Like, I didn't know this because, you know, as a working mom before, now I'm at home, but like I'd leave work at 5:30. I'd pick up the first one at 6. I was the last mom picking him up, right? Always that mom. Then I'd pick up my other one at 6:30, which is the last mom. I'd get up at 7. I'd scream at everyone to like take off their clothes and eat and then get in the bath. And I'm always just yelling at everyone. And then we got into bed. And then to get him to school, I'd have to get him up at 6 to leave at 7 to get to my desk at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So all I did was yell at my kids all day long. I didn't do homework with them. I didn't read with them. I just didn't know them academically at all.
It was just like you were just like life was living you almost.
Kind of. It was just a repeat. It was just Groundhog Day every day and just yell at the kids that are 1 day older every day. And I'm 1 day older. It was just, you know, and that's how it was. And so what COVID did was just slowed me down.
Yes.
Yeah. And all of a sudden I'm watching him like ask questions. And I mean, this could be about like some Roblox, like, or Minecraft or some gamer Twitch thing. I'm not like this all amazing parent. Like I let them watch way too much YouTube. But just the questions they would ask were like, all of a sudden, like, I was like, wow, that was a perceptive question, you know? And I'm getting to know them at a completely different level.
1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys feel that way too?
Yeah. I mean, I I teach kids for a living. I teach high school. And so I had always thought that I would be pretty perceptive, right, with my kids' academics, and I would be on top of it. Like, this is my profession. I have a master's degree in this shit. I should know what I'm talking about, you know? But
Yeah.
both being home, being forced to be home with them and being present, because I was too the first mom. My first class is 7:30. So I was dropping them off. Bye. Like, I hope you eat something healthy. I don't really know, and daycare it was like 5 o'clock, because by the time you finish everything and lesson planning for the next day, I just realized so much that I didn't know about my own children until I was home, and I was forced to be home and to really chill out and pay attention and notice, like, what are the questions that she's coming and asking me, and why. I didn't notice that she keeps asking me the same question over and over again. Like, I didn't notice that multiplication maybe wasn't as easy as I had assumed, because also my children are not squeaky wheels, and they want to please, and they want to be happy, because when your household is a little imbalanced that way, like, you feel like you're running, they're running, we don't get to spend a lot of time together, like, and I was a yeller, and that's not my natural inclination, but that's what it happens to be. They don't want to disrupt anything, right? So they don't really mention. But this, I mean, obviously, this has had devastating effects on so many families, and we're not disparaging that. COVID is disastrous, and we pray that it's over fast.
I agree, but there is a silver lining, I think, in at least in my case, because I didn't get to know my children that way, and I'm happy. I mean, I really thought, I hate to say this, and I'm going to just be like really frank, but like, I thought my daughter was like really average. Like, she just like wasn't that clever. I mean, she's a normal kid. I mean, not like, I'm not expecting Einstein's, but she just like talk. I mean, she still has like, I feel like a speech impediment. Like, I don't know. And I just realized after hanging out with her, particularly when we went to New Zealand, because I got 3 weeks of her nonstop, I was like, she's cool. She's like a cool little kid. And I actually enjoy her so much more now. I don't know if I can say the same about my spouse, but
this is such guys, isn't this such a crazy conversation that we're having? We're like, COVID's actually giving us a chance to get to know our kids, and we didn't even realize what we were missing out on.
It's true.
Like, what if this didn't happen and you were just still working full time and you were still in school and I was doing what, you know what I mean? Like, now that my smallest one, like, I really thought that I was going to be changing diapers for my entire life. Like, okay. Cause like my third one, I had a newborn and a 3.5-year-old. So it was just like, we literally have had babies in the house for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
And now that my last one, like, we just got rid of the crib and my last one is now not in diapers anymore. I'm like, holy shit, that went fast. And like, I'm literally smothering my 3-year-old. I'm smothering him because I'm like, you're my last baby. Like, it's so crazy. And, like Jenny, like you said, there's definitely parents that are suffering right now. And I think it's definitely hitting lower income families, the ones that like are living paycheck to paycheck, need that paycheck. And also the only way to earn that paycheck is by going into work. Like, there is no working from home over the computer option for those moms, and they don't have childcare. We feel for them, but we're not talking about them in this series right now. We're talking about, thankfully, thank God, a lot of us do have choices, right? Send our kids to school, virtual learning, or homeschooling. And like Emerald was telling us last week, because she's been a long-term homeschooler, she's been getting calls like crazy, like, hey, I'm considering doing homeschool. How do you do this? So Dana, when you decided, hey, I'm just going to homeschool, what were the steps that you took to start homeschooling, and how did you know, like, you were doing it right? Like, how do you know, like, you can like put him back in school when you're done?
Okay, so really good question. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of background on my homeschool, because I think everyone comes into homeschooling with certain ideas about what it is.
Yeah.
So my husband, we're in Texas. Okay, people homeschool all the time because for religious reasons, and they're anti-vaxxers. That's a whole different discussion, but it's easier for them to homeschool due to religious reasons. They want a curriculum that supports creationism. So a lot of them decide to remove their kids. And a lot of them have like ADHD or just things that they don't feel the public system is addressing and for important for their needs. My husband, I understand that. My husband believes that all homeschoolers so this is a change. All homeschoolers are crazy. Their kids are just going to go out and shoot people at a church. Like, was very against homeschool. Okay. Just didn't associate it with any benefits at all. Now I'm from a island in Hawaii. It's an outer island.
Can you believe that, Jenny?
Yeah, can you hear me?
She's from Hawaii. Like, I don't understand Hawaii, like, why leave there. But anyway, that's another story.
I know. No jobs. But yes, I miss it. Now, especially now that I have kids, I really miss it because you want your kids to do everything you did as a kid, like in your hometown. But in Hawaii, like, you either go to the very expensive private school or the really crappy public school. So a lot of people homeschool. And it's a financial thing. It's not, and it's an education choice thing. So for me, homeschooling was never a bad. I have plenty of friends that homeschooled. But my husband saw Sebastian's progress, and I think that's why he agreed to it. So again, what did I do? I didn't know what I was doing. Facebook groups. So I immediately joined Working Moms for Homeschooling Facebook group, because these are people who are trying to juggle a lot, and a lot of people, while they're working from home, they're trying to also homeschool their kids. Homeschooling my daughter and my son was miserable because I had two children. They didn't learn the same way. They couldn't read the same books. They couldn't do the same activities.
Right.
So I would half an hour with one, half an hour with another, half an hour with one, half an hour with another. Right. I was literally drunk half a bottle of wine in a fetal position by 3:30 every day. Like, it was not good. Like, I was not happy, miserable. There was progress being made, but it was terrible for myself.
Right.
Terrible.
Right.
So as soon as we kicked the other one to daycare, like, after you've homeschooled two kids, to homeschool one is easy.
Right.
Like, you just comb Facebook for moms that have similar situations as yours with kids with similar, sensory issues, dysgraphia, like, I don't know, this stuff that I've never heard of before in my life, ADHD, introverts, and then you start finding moms that are suggesting programs. So you just comb Facebook. It is an incredible resource. So we tried lots of things, and some of them were failures, workbooks on Amazon, reading comprehension things that were crap, and some were good. So it's a lot of trial and error, and it's pricey. Okay. Like,
it is.
You have to plunk down the $10 for a workbook and find out it's crap. And then you plunk down 10 for another and find out that your kid just doesn't like it. Or it's silly. Like, I got a Star Wars reading he doesn't even watch Star Wars. He has no idea what they're talking about. I thought it'd be cool, and it was dumb.
No, but yeah, I think
except if you're a Star Wars fan, then it's good.
Sure. I mean, I think homeschooling has become so different now in this age of social media, right? Where homeschooling wasn't necessarily popular before social media was popular. It existed for sure. People still engaged in it, but it wasn't like mainstreamed the way that it is right now, since social media caught on. And so I think beforehand you had to kind of subscribe to a specific kind of learning and curriculum style, like you had to invest, like, oh, I'm going to like Montessori type homeschool, or I'm going to Waldorf type homeschool, or Charlotte Mason type homeschool.
Correct.
Right. But now you don't have to, because there are so many choices and so many resources that are available to you that all you have to do is go to these specific groups or sites and investigate, like, what fits for my kid from this program, and then what fits for my kid from this program. You can kind of cherry pick your way through in order to craft your own curriculum that's tailored to your own student, which I think is brilliant. Like, honestly, that would be like every educator's dream. If I could do my job 100% the best, it would be to be able to do that for every student anyway. So why wouldn't we want that for our own children?
Right.
Yeah, it's delightful. I mean, I'll be honest with you, being able to pick things, and also, like, for instance, my kid just wanted to do piano for 2 hours in the morning. And, when a kid's on a roll, I don't want to have to stop and be like, no, you have to do math now. It's math time.
Right.
Just let him roll with it. And and then you get to know your own kid. Like Sebastian, if he does too much math, if he starts getting math problems wrong from math fatigue, he'll start crying and break down. So like he knows his limit. I know his limit. He doesn't.
Yeah.
So tailoring it not only for your child, but tailoring it for their everyday mood is incredible. Because sometimes he just wants to go down a rabbit hole with, I don't know, drawing or math problems or whatever. And you can just let him. He doesn't have to go to that next class.
Right.
Which is nice.
I love that. I love the freedom. I always felt like growing up, I just always felt restrained. Like I couldn't be myself because I was in a rush to like the next class or the rush to get some homework out of the way. And then by the time I was done doing what I had to do, I felt like I didn't have time to be myself.
Yeah. Emerald mentioned really well last week the difference between like a routine and a schedule.
Yes. I was thinking that. So do you guys have like a routine?
Like what's the priority list?
Okay.
Schedule, what's the priority list you have to hit?
So I started following, I listened to this guy on Facebook, the expert, right? And he's like, dude, if your kid just does an hour of math a day, an hour of reading a day, and an hour of writing a day, they're good. Like, just do that. Like, just if they can do an hour of math, hour of reading, hour of writing, your kid will be fine. The reading will come easy. They'll be curious. Math, they're like, look, if you want to get a math tutor, get a math tutor for $25 for 1 hour or whatever it is, and then have them give you a schedule of what to do the rest of the week. You can get a private school education for literally $3,000 a year. I'm talking about tutors. If you want to do one tutor in one subject once a week. So you don't need to like have this rigorous schedule. So I just try to make sure that's what we do. If he wants to read for an hour, and we'll do reading comprehension. Like I'll make sure there's questions that are asked, so I make sure he's understanding what's going on. And there's like 1 million worksheets online, and so we do reading for an hour. We don't do writing for an hour. He's 7,
right?
Whatever. Like literally, but he'll do math for an hour, and then it's just whatever. I got some online program like for him to write, and then I realized he has no idea how to type. I was like, I forgot that. I just like I know how to type. I can get
we forget.
Right. So we've been practicing typing. I've been pushing coding. He finds it boring. So
have you found a typing class online?
Okay, typingclub.com. He likes because he's really motivated by stars. Are we back? I don't know, but hi.
I've never had that happen before.
So he's motivated by stars and points. So any program, so Typing Club has one. It's a little boring, but he seems to really like it. So going back to that, so I'll just write like, let's do typing, let's do piano, let's do writing, let's do reading comprehension. He got an abacus, which sounds really snazzy and like high-minded. It's really just a calculator. Like if you just literally get an cheap abacus and go online and learn how to use it, it is a calculator. You don't need to be smart. You could be dumb and do amazing things on the abacus. So we haven't.
Yeah, I need to do that. We have an abacus, and I'm like, I know we're supposed to be able to do like math on this thing, and I don't get it.
Oh yeah, if you just watch a couple YouTube videos and like sit down and focus, it's super easy. And so
I watch YouTube videos to figure out everything.
Me too.
Why wouldn't I think of watching a YouTube video to figure out a freaking abacus?
It's like there's so many people that have worked with it, and so we'll do abacus work to kind of shake things up. It's homeschool life. We're shaking it up with the abacus. So
what's next? Like, okay, you're like, what is like the 6 month, 12 month?
Yeah. Old on the homeschooling thing now? Is he?
Great question. Okay, so all of our charter schools are a lottery system. I've been applying for 3 years while he's been in private school, and we've never gotten it once.
Wow. I
will reapply to the charter schools and the magnet schools. There's a difference. Not too boring to get into. But I'm also thinking about applying again for private schools. I just want
this is just temporary.
Yeah. So this, yes. Yes. Like this is not me for the rest of my life. Like there's screaming and I'm screaming and the crying and the frustration And when he's not in the mood to do something because he played too many video games during lunch because I was trying to clean up and make dinner and get crap in the crock pot for, when I was trying to be a mom and do laundry, I don't play video games. And then he gets in a funk.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not that mom. I want my life back.
Yeah, I was going to say, so like, do you miss going to work?
No. No. But I miss friends. And
okay.
I don't. So again, let's remove COVID from the picture. Let's just say I did this on my own. I love being able to catapult him academically for a year. I feel like this is going to leave him in a much better place. Going into no, he'll be going to second grade or third grade. We don't know.
Right.
But
I think that's hilarious. We don't know what grade he's going into.
I know, it's so dumb. Okay, so he's a May birthday, if that helps. But okay. Yeah, I want to deal with adults all day. I want to go to the bathroom by myself. Yeah, going to the bathroom by myself sounds really good right now. He just doesn't want to be alone in the house. So like, I can't go to the bathroom. I have to have the door open. And he's 7. Like, this is not like toddler stuff. So, because he's alone in the house and it freaks him out. It's a big space.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I get that. I think this conversation is so important because there are so many of us, and right, we're in like similar situations, but we're all making different decisions. Some people have been homeschooling just for the last few weeks, and they're like, I love this. Where has this been my whole life? Like, this is my purpose and my calling, and there are others of us who are like, I appreciate this for the time that it is, but like, I am looking forward to a time where I don't have to do this anymore. And I just think it's so important for women to hear that those are options. Just because you commit to something right now doesn't mean that you're committing for the rest of your life or the rest of your child's life, right? Correct. Whatever decision that you're making right now is what's best for your family right now. And you have complete and total autonomy to make a different choice tomorrow. Whatever works for you right now is the best choice.
Yeah. And this is like not a time to be feeling guilt or like stress. You know what I mean? Like, there's just this big thing, this big stupid thing that's a barrier to letting us live life the way that we want to live it ideally, and just giving all of ourselves grace. Because I know like so many women are just under so much stress because they're trying to keep up with something, right? And to just kind of let it go. Like Dana, like you were working, like 6-9 months ago, and now you're homeschooling. You know what I mean? That's like a whole 180, and you're kind of just going with it, right? And it can be stressful. Of course, you just said like you're looking forward to the next season, but it seems like you're doing a really good job with just being like, you know what, like this is what life is right now, and just finding the good stuff out of it.
Yeah, and I think I was always very, like, you asked about schedules and stuff. I was always very tied to a schedule. Like, I love to do this, and I love checking crap off to do it. Like, it gives me, it's like, how like the little rat like hitting the thing to get cocaine. Like, that's how I feel checking off a to-do list. You know what I mean? Like, it feels good to me. Like, I feel like I accomplished something. I don't know. So this has been a change because I'm relying on my son to also provide the schedule,
right?
And I don't like compromise. I like being the decider, and it's been a complete change. But I've learned a lot about myself. As well, and like you said, just grace.
Yeah, I think we were going to end this series last week and just call it a day after 4 weeks, but we got so much feedback because all of our stories are different, and everybody's going to have a different journey throughout this particular season, and it's so important to us for other people to hear it. The people who are listening, they can know that they're allowed to let go of the guilt too, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're all feeling that. We all want to like lock ourselves in the bathroom at the end of the day and be like, leave me alone for 20 minutes. This is our situation, whether you love homeschooling or this is just a season for you. So I think this was another really great piece for our community to hear your side of the story.
Thank you.
Yes, and I wish you tons of luck.
Okay, I'll keep you posted how it goes.
Keep us updated.
Yes, keep us posted. Please keep us posted. Thank you
I will.
for sharing with us.
I thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. All right. Talk to you guys soon.
It was so
All
fun.
right, Dana. Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in tonight at the She Interviews. We'll see you next time.